If you don't know my story, I experienced 10 to 11 years of suicide ideation, chronic depression. I took my friend's motorcycle, a rocket motorcycle, and I didn't have a license. I didn't even really know how to ride it. And I would ride it at excessively fast speeds to try to be like Albert Camus, who was an absurdist, who went in the car of a notoriously reckless driver and was killed at a young age. I wanted to be a passive victim. So I would ride, not even knowing how to ride the full thing. Like I would go at excessively fast speeds without a helmet on my friend's rocket, hopefully courting death if I was lucky. I remember another time I would go up to a skyscraper and I would walk on the railing, hoping that I might fall off. But like courting it, but like I was flirting with suicide, but I didn't actually perform the deed. Another time I took up a knife, I remember this vividly in my kitchen, to kill myself, and God stayed my hand. So when I talk to you about depression and how God healed me, this is something that's very personal to me. It was over a decade of experiencing chronic suicidal depression. As you may know, my sister died in a car accident. My brother died of cancer. I actually went to counseling after all this, and my counselor said, Ben, you have one of the most difficult cases of depression I've ever experienced. Now, I'm sharing this with you so you don't think these are just like, oh, here's some tips to not feeling blue. Like, I had one of the most difficult cases of depression that my counselor had ever experienced. And I actually got diagnosed with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I couldn't even settle for the normal variety. Like, normal PTSD would be good. I got diagnosed with complex PTSD. And one of the things that people say is, oh, Ben, you're always so happy, you're so joyful. I can't imagine you suffering from depression. That's why you have to realize that exteriors don't always show what's going on inside. The heart may be sorrowful even in laughter. And that's why after all the things I'd gone through, I got diagnosed with complex PTSD, which means you go through a series of back-to-back traumas. I would have panic attacks. Again, I don't share this stuff here, but I'm going to today because I want to help you. People are impressed by our accomplishments, but they connect with our weakness. I remember I would drive in my Jeep, and I was so scared of getting panic attacks because I didn't know when they would come. I don't know if you've ever had panic attacks, but the worst thing about them is you don't know when they're going to hit. It's not just when you're triggered. Sometimes you're like just driving down the side. I would be driving in my Jeep, and I'd have to pull over hyperventilating and sobbing because I didn't know how to deal with the traumas in my head. Not to mention, this guy has followed me around since I was a little kid, actually, but he follows me around with a sign and calls ahead to any TV interview I'm doing, any place I'm speaking. And as you know, I live on the road. I come back and forth here and then go on the road to share this message. And he follows me around everywhere he goes, everywhere I go, calling ahead of time to try to destroy my ministry. I'm not sure why he dislikes me so much. I don't even know if I've met him, to be honest with you. Might be a good idea. We'll see. Maybe not. But after an 8-year relationship, I went through a romantic heartbreak that I remember convulsing in the car. I was convulsing, and I felt like I got hit by a semi-truck from the blind side, and I thought I'd never be happy again. And then my body shut down, and I couldn't even feel emotion anymore. For months, I was just a robot with dead batteries. Like, I didn't feel anything. And I remember giving about 10, on average, I would give about 10 sermons a week while preaching. And I got so burnt out by this that I remember one time I was standing in front of a church, literally of about 11,000 people, and I didn't feel anything. And I'm like, okay, this is bad. Like, I'm so excited to share my message of hope normally, but now even when I'm getting up to teach, it's just muscle memory and I don't feel anything. Like, I feel nothing. It was just an emotional flatline. So when I talk to you about defeating depression, friends, as one who suffered from complex PTSD, here's what I want to share with you. If God could heal me, and he has, I guarantee he can heal you. If God could give me a hope, and this is the thing that I want to tell you, it's been sort of a staple of my ministry over the last years that I won't usually share about what I'm going through until afterwards. Because I don't want to just be like, guys, I'm struggling, like, what do I do? No, I want to tell you, I was struggling when I get the answer, and now I can share it with you. So, like, why didn't you share that when you were going through it? It's because I like to share about it in hindsight so I can give you an answer. I don't want you just to soak and brood in the ashes with me for 7 days and 7 nights, and then we have a theological discussion about why we're going through stuff. No, I want to give you answers. I want to give you answers. So if God could heal my broken heart, goodness gracious, he can heal yours too. But here's what I need to tell you. Friends, it is going to be war. And I remember telling my counselor this. I said, I will claw my way out of this pit. if it's the last thing I do, like I will exercise every day, I will eat as clean as Tom Brady, I'm gonna pray and go on my prayer walks, I'm gonna do everything it takes to get out of this pit. But sometimes you have to determine in your heart that you are gonna fight in a war. Sometimes you have to stop trying to find happiness and you gotta start fighting for meaning, because you might not feel happiness for a season, but sometimes it means you stop looking for happiness for a season and you start fighting for meaning, and you throw yourself into purpose regardless of your emotion, and you determine to claw your way out of the pit. Sometimes that's exactly what you have to do.